Through all my losses, my mother, my girlfriend, my
For more than 40 years, John Travolta moved quietly through a life marked by deep personal losses. His mother, his partner, his son. Each absence left its own silent imprint. But after the passing of Kelly Preston in 2020 and the loss of his son years earlier, something within him shifted. By 2025, those closest to him began to notice subtle changes.
In front of me, he forced me. He offered me money to have.
He started saying goodbye in ways that felt unfamiliar and quietly unsettling. He began giving away personal belongings that had followed him through decades of memory, objects that carried stories, moments, and meaning. He recorded what he described as a final message to those who had supported him throughout his life. His family grew concerned. Even the strange rumors that circulated that year did not feel entirely accidental.
In a way, to leave the stage room in a professional way. He told me that, Fabian, I have something on the neck over here. And I thought that was some simple things, maybe, I don't know, but he asked me. So I said, sir, it's okay.
There was a sense that John was carrying thoughts he had not yet shared. Something about the way he now looked ahead had changed, and those who loved him felt it deeply. John Travolta was born on February 18, 1954, in Englewood, New Jersey, the youngest of 6 children. His father, Salvatore, ran a modest tire shop, carrying the financial strain of the household with steady resolve. His mother, Helen, held the family together in a different way. She filled their home with acting classes, rehearsals, and the quiet persistence of her own unrealized dreams.
John Travolta, as a Scientologist, would not want to be seen as being gay or actively gay because of the public relations aspect of Scientology's promises to be able to cure gay.
From a young age, John watched his mother rehearse, her eyes lit with purpose and joy. Even at 12, he felt a gentle pull toward that world. One school performance made it unmistakably clear. When he stepped onto the stage, something awakened. His movement, his presence, the response from the audience. It felt like a door opening.
After my loss, I had 2 full years of full-time help from my church, and they never left my side, and I got through a time that I didn't think I was going to make it.
The family did not have much, but their home was rich with sound. Music drifted through every room. Helen practiced scenes and songs from the sound of music, filling the space with imagination. John absorbed it all as naturally as breathing. Those moments shaped him. They offered hope while their home remained small and resources remained limited. In that musical household, silence never lasted long. Songs from My Fair Lady and Oklahoma echoed through the walls. John joined in instinctively. He danced, sang,
and he said, Fabian, don't say anything. Please do not say anything. And I will take care of you. I promise you. I promise you. And I will give you $12,000. So please come back tonight, but do not say anything.
Mimicked gestures and pulled dramatic expressions that made neighbors pause outside the window, quietly watching the youngest child at the center of it all. Whenever he felt alone or diminished, John turned to music. He let rhythm soften his thoughts, allowing sound to carry what words could not. More than once, he later reflected that those quiet performances in the living room sustained him. The house was not wealthy, but imagination lived everywhere, gently guiding him toward a future he could not yet see.
And they actually went around destroying my businesses deliberately, contacting my clients, contacting my staff members to say, don't work for him anymore, don't buy things from him anymore. He is completely a bad person. He is basically, they're trying to protect OT8 and the reputation of Scientology, but he was absolutely distraught and destroyed because his father had once again busted him from class 12 to 0 in his qualifications, which is the ultimate penalty in Scientology, is to cancel all your certificates and say you have to retrain from the bottom up again.
School, however, was another world entirely. John stood out for reasons he could not control: his slight frame, the stutter that slowed his speech, his pale skin. Classmates singled him out, teasing his voice and the way he moved. By midday, he often wished he could disappear, so he retreated inward, saving his real self for home. There, he created small scenes for his siblings, transforming discomfort into humor. Performing became a way to steady himself, a place where tension loosened its grip.
Could feeling his erected penis floating on me, and I couldn't move, And suddenly I told him, "Sir," I removed him, not in a professional way. And I said, "Sir, this is wrong."
It softened the weight he carried from school. His mother noticed the quiet strain behind his eyes and encouraged him toward theater, believing the stage could give shape to feelings he did not yet know how to express. By high school, the change was unmistakable. When John stepped into the light, something shifted. His posture straightened.
Really feel like I defend it. I feel like I tell the truth about what it is for me, and that handles it, because 40 years, it's been amazing. I've saved other people's lives. I've saved my own life several times.
His voice settled. People watched him as though the room responded to his presence. What once felt fragile slowly revealed its strength. His first defining moment came at 12. Helen directed a local production titled "Who Will Save the Plowboy" and gave him a small role. The lines were simple, but when John stepped on stage, instinct took over. He added subtle humor, altered his tone.
I'm involved 32 years in Scientology, and it's given me all the tools to survive in life that I need, and it helped so many people, and we're all over the world. I actually got it from Gene Hackman. He told me, I said, "You can put limits on these things?"
And slipped in accents that were never written into the script. The audience responded instantly. Laughter filled the room, followed by applause so loud it startled him into stillness. Then came a standing ovation, rare, unexpected, and unforgettable. That sound told him something no lecture ever could. He carried it with him, quietly, allowing it to guide his choices.
"Fabian, I have something on the neck over here." And I thought that was some simple things, maybe, I don't know, but he asked me. So I said, "Sir, it's okay, you're okay, you don't have nothing." So during that time, he take out the bathrobe. It was white, and he got naked.
At 16, he made one of the hardest decisions of his life. He left Dwight Morrow High School, despite his parents' pleas to stay. With a small bag and limited cash, he moved to New York City. He rented a narrow YMCA room for $1 a night and took whatever work he could find: washing dishes, delivering flowers, cleaning wherever help was needed. During the day, he attended acting classes. At night, he slipped into spaces he technically did not belong, then returned to that narrow bed and promised himself to last one more day. He believed the struggle had meaning. He believed persistence mattered.
It works. It's very successful. It shows by the growing amount of people interested in the subject matter.
Sullivan saw something instinctive in him, something unpolished but genuine. Still, he offered a quiet warning. Talent, he said, would never be enough on its own. The industry had a way of wearing people down, and without resilience, it could easily take more than it gave. John listened closely. He carried those words with him. The training was demanding, both technically and emotionally. Day by day, he learned to control his voice, to guide each movement with intention. Slowly, the stutter that once held him back began to fade. When the program ended, Sullivan's advice remained with him, not as fear, but as grounding, a reminder to stay steady when opportunities arrived.
Said, "Fabian, don't say anything. Please do not say anything. And I will take care of you. I promise you. I promise you. And I will give you $12,000. So please coming back tonight, but do not say anything.
That same year, still only 16, John secured his first paid stage role at the Cherry Lane Theater in Bye Bye Birdie. He earned $75 a week. The stage was modest, the backstage narrow and crowded, but every performance became a lesson. He memorized lines with care, watched seasoned actors closely, and learned how timing and stillness could hold an audience just as much as movement. Performing off-Broadway gave him something he had been missing: confidence. For the first time, he felt he truly belonged in that world. But the sense of security did not last long. 2 years later, in 1972, he appeared in the off-Broadway play Rain, acting alongside Blythe Danner. The production closed after only 2 weeks following harsh reviews, and suddenly the work disappeared. With little money left, John drifted through difficult days. He walked the city for hours, searching for auditions, holding on to hope wherever he could find it. That period stayed with him. It showed him how quickly the industry could elevate someone and just as quickly leave them behind. Still, he kept going.
My staff members to say, don't work for him anymore, don't buy things from him anymore. He is completely a bad person. He is basically, they're trying to protect OT8 and the reputation of Scientology by destroying me.
In 1975, he auditioned for Godspell. During the callback, he missed a song. The role went to someone else. The rejection cut deeply. It forced him to reconsider how he prepared, how he accessed emotion, how he truly approached acting. He sought guidance from acting coach Milton Katselis, who pushed him to reach places he had never explored before. What felt like failure slowly revealed itself as one of his most valuable lessons. Then came the audition that would change everything. Welcome Back Kotter almost passed him by. He needed steady income and was close to accepting another Broadway role instead. Casting director Lynn Stallmaster quietly helped him stay afloat by placing him in a small role in The Devil's Reign. It gave him just enough time.
Dealt very specifically with my actual loss in life and had a lot of help.
When he walked into the Kotter audition in March 1975, he was nervous, sweaty, and chewing gum. But the moment he read for Eddie Barbarino, something shifted. The room responded. The producers could not look away. By May 1976, John Travolta had become one of the most recognizable young faces on television. Children copied his walk. His image appeared on shirts before the show had even fully aired. He had appeared on Emergency before, once in 1972 and again in 1975. This time, it felt different. John began pouring something deeply personal into his work. He drew quietly from his own experiences, shaping each role with emotion he understood intimately. Producers noticed. They saw layers. They saw someone capable of carrying stories that required more than surface charm. In 1976, he took on The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, portraying Todd Lubitsch, a teenager born with a rare condition that required him to live apart from the outside world. The story was inspired by the real-life experience of David Vedder, who spent years in medical isolation. When the film aired on November 12, 1976, it resonated powerfully with audiences and quickly became one of the most talked-about television films of the year. During production, John formed a close bond with Diana Hyland, who played his mother. Her passing not long after the project ended left a lasting impression on him. The loss was deeply felt, and it quietly reshaped his inner world. From that point forward, he approached his work with greater emotional awareness, allowing vulnerability to guide his performances. Later that same year, John walked into auditions for Saturday Night Fever, carrying more weight than most actors his age ever had. Over 200 performers were considered for the role of Tony Manero, yet something about John held the room. It was not just his presence, but the way he moved. He had studied a brief moment from a television clip, a simple walk with a confident rhythm, and practiced it until it felt effortless. That walk became instinct. When director John Badham watched him cross the floor, he knew immediately. That movement became Tony's signature. Until then, John was still largely recognized as Vinnie Barbarino from Welcome Back, Kotter, but Saturday Night Fever shifted everything almost overnight. At just 23, he became the youngest nominee for Best Actor since 1932. Soon after, producer Robert Stigwood signed him to a 3-picture deal worth $1 million, an extraordinary commitment for a young performer in 1976. The following year, filming moved to Brooklyn's Odyssey 2001 nightclub. The lights burned bright, the music echoed endlessly. The pressure to deliver perfection grew heavier with each take. Badham pushed relentlessly, demanding repetition until every movement felt exact. John kept dancing, again and again, driven by discipline and determination. That understated wardrobe choice grounded the character in reality. The flared trousers and wide lapels felt lived in, not stylized, and over time they became inseparable from the era itself. Then came the music. In late 1977, the songs of the Bee Gees entered the story, and everything expanded. The soundtrack spread across the world, selling more than 40 million copies globally and 16 million in the United States alone. It became the second highest-selling soundtrack in history. Only The Bodyguard would later surpass it. For 24 weeks, the album remained at #1 on the Billboard charts. Stayin' Alive became closely associated with John, while the Bee Gees carefully shaped their sound to mirror Tony's inner life. Their falsetto voices seemed to move in step with his character, elevating each moment on the dance floor. When the film premiered at Grauman's Chinese Theater on December 14, 1977, the atmosphere outside felt celebratory, almost electric. Inside, the response was immediate. By the end of 1978, the film had earned more than $90 million in the United States and over $350 million worldwide. At just 23 years old, John received his first Academy Award nomination. A few years later, when the film aired on television, an estimated 200 million people tuned in. Despite the momentum, John remained cautious. He declined a $1 million endorsement deal, worried about becoming permanently defined by a single image. He was determined to keep space for growth. During production, the environment was intense. Being immersed in real nightlife spaces exposed him to moments of unpredictability and emotional strain. Those experiences informed the film's heavier scenes, lending them a grounded realism. Even when certain elements were later removed to meet broadcast standards, the emotional weight remained present in his performance. That awareness shaped his choices going forward. He became selective, avoiding roles that felt narrow or expected. After Saturday Night Fever, the world anticipated an easy path of repetition. Instead, John chose restraint. In 1978, he even declined a brief appearance in Animal House, protecting the dramatic direction he hoped to pursue. John took the earnings from Saturday Night Fever and invested them into something personal. His first studio album, simply titled John Travolta, blended soft ballads with disco rhythms. It reached number 14 on the Billboard 200. More than a commercial move, it was a statement. He wanted to prove he could evolve, that he didn't have to burn brightly and disappear as so many young performers had before him. Then came Grease. John already knew Danny Zuko well. He had played the role on Broadway in 1972, and the character never fully left him. When producers considered other actors, including Henry Winkler, John made his case in the simplest way. He stepped forward and performed Greased Lightning live. Olivia Newton-John worked closely with him on his vocals, helping him find confidence in the music. That moment sealed the decision. Filming began in the summer of 1977 at Venice High School, transformed into Rydell High. John's Broadway discipline blended seamlessly with his growing screen presence. His movement, timing, and ease made Danny Zuko feel effortless, grounded, and alive. By July, the production moved to Venice Beach for the hand jive sequence. More than 500 extras filled the set, and the atmosphere buzzed with energy. Many of John's movements were improvised, which gave the scene its spontaneous joy. During filming, he strained his hand while performing, forcing the crew to adapt quickly. Still, the momentum never slowed. That unpredictability became part of the magic. It's something audiences still sense when watching the scene unfold. Grease premiered in June 1978 and quickly became a global phenomenon. From a modest $6 million budget, it earned $132 million in the United States and nearly $400 million worldwide. John earned $2.5 million, briefly becoming the highest-paid actor in Hollywood. Speculation about an off-screen romance with Olivia Newton-John followed him everywhere. He always described their connection as professional and respectful. Yet beneath the success, something quietly heavy was unfolding. Helen had kept her condition from John, hoping to protect him while his career demanded everything he had. He completed the final scenes carrying that quiet weight with him. When she passed away in 1978, the loss settled deeply. John later reflected that the ache softened something within him, adding an unexpected tenderness to Danny Zuko, even in moments of heartbreak. He remained focused and professional, and those around him noticed the strength it took to do so. That same year, his single "Let Her In" was released. It climbed quickly, holding the #1 spot in the United Kingdom for 7 weeks and reaching the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States. A television special was planned in his honor, but scheduling conflicts prevented it from moving forward. Still, Let Her In became his only solo top 10 hit in the US, marking a brief but meaningful chapter in his music career. Around that time, John was offered the role of Superman. He ultimately declined. Christopher Reeve stepped into the part, and the film went on to redefine an entire genre. Years later, John admitted the decision lingered with him. He understood how differently his path might have unfolded. In 1980, Urban Cowboy arrived. John immersed himself fully, spending months learning to ride alongside experienced Texas ranchers. He wanted Bud Davis to feel honest and grounded. During rehearsals, a serious accident briefly halted production, causing concern on set. John insisted on continuing once it was safe to do so, though the setback eventually required adjustments to the filming schedule with Deborah Winger. The physical strain never fully faded, but it added a raw edge to the performance that audiences recognized. In 1981, he took on Blowout, a film shaped by the unease of the post-Watergate era. For one pivotal scene, director Brian De Palma struggled to capture a moment that felt genuine. After several attempts fell short, John relied on instinct, drawing from his improvisational roots. The result was exactly what the scene needed, and it became one of the film's most lasting impressions. The strain behind the scenes slowed production, but the film still reached audiences worldwide, earning $127 million globally. Critics were harsh, yet the numbers made one thing clear: Tony Manero still carried weight. Still, the experience left John cautious as he moved into the mid-1980s. In 1985, he believed he was stepping into a modest romantic drama. Instead, Perfect drew him into something far more complex. He played a magazine reporter caught inside a tense courtroom dispute, pressured to surrender recorded material he refused to give up. The moment felt oddly personal. At the same time, John was facing a real contractual dispute with Paramount over unpaid earnings from Grease. The film had brought in more than $180 million worldwide, yet compensation issues lingered. The matter eventually resolved quietly, but it left him emotionally worn. Perfect struggled at the box office, earning just under $13 million against a much larger budget. Critics were harsh, and once again his momentum faltered. Still, the parallel between his real-life situation and the film's central conflict gave the performance an unusual intensity that some viewers would later revisit with renewed appreciation. Just 4 years later, the direction shifted once more. In 1989, John accepted a role in Look Who's Talking, a light comedy centered on a young family, with Bruce Willis providing the voice of an infant's inner thoughts. On paper, it did not resemble a return to form. It was not dramatic, it was not ambitious, yet the film surprised nearly everyone. It earned close to $300 million worldwide and arrived at a moment when John's career had reached a fragile point. Before its release, major offers had slowed and studio confidence had cooled. During production, John and Bruce Willis recorded together, improvising freely and responding to each other's timing. That natural rhythm gave the film a warmth audiences immediately connected with. The success quietly reset his standing in Hollywood. Yet even that year carried its own complications. A legal dispute with a former manager surfaced, bringing uncomfortable attention to earlier financial decisions. The matter ended privately, but it revealed how unprepared John had been for sudden success. In the 1970s, he had earned enormous sums while trusting others to manage the details. He had rarely looked closely at the numbers. By the time the dispute ended, John understood just how much had quietly slipped away. It became a turning point. For the first time, he stepped fully into managing his own finances, learning hard lessons during an already uncertain period. Around that time, he reconnected with Kelly Preston. They had first met years earlier on the set of a 1987 film that was never released, but their bond truly deepened in 1989. As they explored Scientology together, that shared belief created a sense of grounding for John, especially as his career faced several disappointments in a row. Their relationship became a place of steadiness when much of his professional life felt unstable. They married in 1991 and remained together through every rise and fall that followed. As his personal life settled, his creative choices softened. In 1991, he starred in Eyes of an Angel, a quiet story centered on a father, a daughter, and an injured dog. The film was modest and intimate, and while it never reached a wide audience, it reflected where John was emotionally. He was drawn to stories rooted in connection, compassion, and family, rather than spectacle. That shift mirrored his own life. Still, one earlier decision lingered with him. In 1986, he was offered the lead role in Top Gun. He declined, partly due to concerns tied to flying, despite his deep interest in aviation. The role went to Chris Thomas, and the film became a defining success. Years later, John admitted the decision lingered with him. He understood how differently his path might have unfolded. Then, in 1994, everything changed again.
Pulp Fiction arrived unexpectedly, sharp, and unconventional. One of its most memorable moments came during the dance sequence with Uma Thurman at Jackrabbit Slim's. The scene required nearly 20 takes, filmed shortly after John returned from an exhausting promotional tour overseas. Fatigue hung over the set, yet something electric emerged. During another scene, a technical mishap occurred with a prop, creating a moment of surprise that the cast instinctively carried through without breaking character. Director Quentin Tarantino kept the take, drawn to its unplanned authenticity. Later, during a separate sequence, John strained his foot after dropping to the floor, adding to the physical toll of the production. The sound that echoed through that moment carried genuine strain. It was not manufactured. That raw intensity became part of the restless energy that turned Pulp Fiction into something unforgettable. By 1995, John moved into Get Shorty, stepping into the role of Chili Palmer, a smooth-talking outsider drifting through Hollywood with quiet confidence. He shaped the character using stories he had absorbed years earlier, drawing from people he had encountered long before fame found him. The film earned more than $70 million worldwide and drew serious attention from critics. John's instincts on set were so sharp that his improvisation often reshaped scenes entirely, pushing the production to adapt around him. That assurance carried him forward, marking the beginning of a strong late 90s resurgence. Yet that same year, a moment off-screen left a lasting impression. While piloting his Gulfstream jet from Florida to Maine, an unexpected technical failure disrupted navigation. Visibility dropped, communication systems went silent, and coordination became critical. Air traffic control redirected another aircraft to assist visually through the cloud cover. The situation demanded calm precision. John managed the landing safely, but the experience stayed with him long afterward, a quiet reminder of how quickly circumstances can change. That sense of vulnerability subtly influenced Phenomenon, released the following year, where his character experiences a sudden and unexplained transformation. John rarely discussed the flight publicly, but its imprint remained. In 1997, he took on one of his most demanding projects yet, Face Off, starring opposite Nicolas Cage. Each day required hours of intricate prosthetic work. Artists carefully placed individual hairs, built layered facial structures, and used delicate mechanics to create subtle movement. The transformation was so complete that at times the actors barely recognized one another between takes. The film earned over $240 million worldwide, but the process was physically exhausting. Long days under heavy makeup took their toll, requiring ongoing care throughout production. Still, the commitment paid off. John remained deeply committed to his work, often staying fully immersed in character, believing that discipline was what gave a story its truth. Shortly after Face Off, he was offered a brief appearance in Titanic. It would have been a historic moment, but in 1997, he chose to step away. When Kelly shared that she was expecting their son, Jet, John quietly shifted his focus toward family. It was a personal decision, one made without announcements or headlines. For a time, he willingly stepped out of the spotlight, choosing presence over momentum. Then came a choice that would follow him for years. In 2000, John invested heavily in Battlefield Earth, contributing $20 million of his own money. The project was deeply personal, inspired by a novel he admired and hoped to turn into a long-term science fiction saga. The film carried a large budget, but audiences did not respond as hoped. Critical reaction was harsh, and the project quickly became known as a cautionary example of creative risk. The experience was humbling. It reminded the industry, and John himself, that passion alone does not guarantee success. Questions followed, speculation grew, and the setback lingered longer than most. In 2001, Swordfish offered a different kind of role. John played Gabriel Scheer, a sharp, commanding antagonist who brought a distinct edge to the screen. Determined to maintain realism, he personally piloted a helicopter during filming, despite cautions from aviation authorities. The scene drew attention and became one of the film's most discussed moments. The movie performed well commercially, earning over $140 million worldwide. Reactions to his performance were mixed, but his presence remained undeniable. Then, in 2009, John and his family faced an unimaginable personal tragedy while on vacation in the Bahamas. The loss of his son, Jet, reshaped his world completely. Grief settled quietly but profoundly. In the months that followed, the family endured additional strain when an individual attempted to exploit the situation with false claims. The matter was resolved, but the emotional toll was lasting. In the public moments that followed their family's darkest chapter, John Travolta revealed a kind of honesty rarely seen from someone so long wrapped in Hollywood myth. The cameras captured not a star, but a father stripped of performance. It reminded the world that even the most celebrated lives remain fragile beneath the lights. Yet John never disappeared. In 2007, he surprised audiences by stepping into the role of Edna Turnblad in Hairspray. Beneath layers of makeup and long hours on set, he brought warmth, humor, and generosity to a character built on joy. The film earned more than $200 million worldwide and introduced him to a new generation, not as an icon of the past, but as someone still capable of delight. Behind the scenes, he carried quiet weight, balancing laughter on screen with private sorrow. That same year, Wild Hogs offered a lighter escape. The film revived the buddy comedy and became another commercial success. The set was relaxed, filled with shared rides and easy friendships. For John, it became one of the rare projects where work felt uncomplicated again. In 2010, a small but meaningful light entered his life. John and Kelly welcomed their son Benjamin, a moment that symbolized renewal and continuity. From there, John shifted much of his energy towards service. He quietly supported charitable missions, often using his own aviation skills to help deliver aid after natural disasters. Flying was no longer just a passion, it became a way to give back. In 2016, he returned to television in The People v. O.J. Simpson, portraying Robert Shapiro. He immersed himself fully, studying every detail, reshaping his body and mannerisms. The performance was widely praised and earned him an Emmy nomination, once again proving his ability to evolve. Not every project that followed was embraced. Some were criticized, some misunderstood, yet Jones stood by them without bitterness. He has often said that meaning matters more than approval. The loss of Kelly Preston marked another profound turning point. In the years that followed, John spoke gently about love, gratitude, and the importance of choosing joy. He honored her quietly, through remembrance rather than spectacle. Even now, he continues to appear, to dance, to surprise. In his 70s, he stepped into a holiday spotlight once more, moving across a brightly lit stage with the same ease that once defined an era. The joy was familiar, the presence unmistakable. Rumors come and go, headlines fade, but John Travolta remains. He still flies, he still mentors, he still works, he still moves. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories like this. See you in the next story.